Welcome to our town. I'm Jill Hindley Lawrence, and today I am here with an awesome guest, Marcus Vaughn.
Thank
Welcome,
you.
Marcus.
Thank you very much for having me today.
Yes, thanks for coming in, and it's so great. Marcus running for state representative.
Yes.
From the Ninth District.
Yes, Ninth Norfolk
Ninth
District.
Norfolk, yeah, that's
Yes.
right, because it's county by county.
Yes.
So Ninth Norfolk. So running for state rep, election is just a couple weeks away.
Yes, it is. Right around the corner.
Yeah, speaking of big breaths, like, oh, I know it's a tremendous amount of work.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's been a long process, but it's been rewarding and almost at the finish line. So it's been pretty great.
Yeah, I'm sure it's this combination of exciting, like up, like and then just the the fatigue of just day after day. Of
Yes.
It, right. It must be this interesting. Like the two sides of it.
Yeah, it's a very interesting dynamic, and of course, these last couple months, going full throttle, every day, and kind of balancing, work and the family and campaigning. Obviously, it's been a little bit of a struggle, but it's doable, and we've been out there, significantly, and it's been very positive.
Yeah.
So.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Seems so. I want to jump into some of those, your background, so to speak. But first, I want to say Election Day, Tuesday, November 8th.
Yes.
Or before, if you have a mail-in.
Yes.
So Tuesday, November 8th, voting at your local. Your poll, your voting location. So different places for throughout the district.
Yes.
People usually know that. And so here's a question just that I'm curious about before we get into your background is, you are doing the whole meeting people, shaking hands, are you naturally, I always wonder this about people running for office, are you naturally extroverted? Are you naturally a people person? And how does that go? I'm just, wondering.
I mean, in my everyday life, I'm in sales.
Yeah.
I own a small
right.
business.
Okay.
I do a lot of traveling. I do a lot of conferences. I get in front of boardrooms just about every day for presentations.
So public, lots of public
lots
speaking.
of public speaking, and that was my forte. Coming out of college, graduated from Syracuse University in communications and rhetorical studies. So that was
communications and rhetorical studies.
And rhetorical studies. So
so
that was
a lot of debate, some debating.
And
cool.
Getting up in the in the lecture hall and having those discussions and making sure that you were well heard and
Oh, so that's your strength.
Yes.
Okay. Well, you seem extroverted to me, but I just know sometimes, people, it just, depends on it. People have to, if it just comes right out but it sounds like it's both, for you, it's both like your innate personality too, but also you've had a lot of good experience.
Yes. And obviously this is a little bit of a different dynamic. I mean, you're more selling yourself more than anything. So
not a product.
There are, different variables mixed in. Against my everyday life and as far as sales and promoting a product.
Right.
So it's been interesting to kind of go through that process, but it hasn't been a struggle to date. So.
Right. Awesome. Well, you seem very comfortable, just as who you are. So I just curious about that because I know I've thought about that in terms of. When you're in the election, like when you're in the end of it and you're just going, wondered about that. So, well, let's go to your background. You're a Wrentham resident, and you've been, I guess, where did you grow up, and then how long have you lived in the town of Wrentham?
Originally from North Attleboro, but my family.
We'll forgive you.
Yes, yeah, One of the biggest
KP,
rivalries at this point. In my heyday, KP was not at the level they are now.
Oh, right, that's right, with football
football especially because I played football. But it's great to see their team doing so well and across all sports for that matter.
Really, there are
very well.
KP's pretty very strong.
So I went to high school in North Attleboro, but my young childhood, lots of time spent in Boston. My family's from Boston.
Okay.
My grandfather owned 2 barbershops and 2 salons.
Oh, cool.
My mother is a salon owner
Oh,
with
really?
my aunt. So
Still? I mean, yeah?
yes,
Oh,
yeah,
awesome.
yeah, down in Eggleston Square.
Okay.
And yeah, spent a lot of time in Boston in my
Okay.
childhood, back
Yeah.
and forth from North Attleboro to Boston.
I see. Yeah.
But yeah, basically grew up in the area, and I tried to convince my wife, after we married, to move to North Attleboro.
You
But
did.
I'm glad at this point, she had other ideas.
Had her roots,
Because
right?
we absolutely love Wrentham,
Yeah.
and I couldn't imagine myself anywhere else now.
Yeah. So that's right. So you and your wife Megan is originally from Wrentham.
Yes.
So she's a lifelong
Yes.
Wrentham
Yes, she
resident
is.
and a KP
KP graduate. Yes.
graduate. Yeah, and an athlete like you.
Yeah.
Okay, so you guys, she really was feeling pulled to be back in Wrentham, and
Yes.
yeah. So you've been back there then for like more than a decade, or probably
Oh, yes.
yeah, like more like
I think
15, 20,
17, yeah,
17,
at least
yeah.
17 years now.
Yeah.
So
Oh, cool.
yeah.
Okay, so you guys really are. You're rooted, and you're rooted in the area in general. You're
Yes.
like a Massachusetts. Yeah, you're like
Yes.
a Massachusetts kid.
Yep. Most certainly.
Yeah. You did go. I understand you went to Syracuse for college,
Yes.
and but then there was no question that you wanted to come back.
Yeah. Upstate New York wasn't for me for the for the longevity of the rest of my life.
It's a quirky place. Yeah.
Great place.
Yeah.
But I was okay with just the 4 years there.
Yeah. No,
Yes.
that's funny. I felt that way about when I went to school as well.
Mm-hmm.
And I know you did. I feel like it's interesting with the youth sports these days and how. And we both have kids that
Yes.
play youth sports and high school sports, but the idea of like sort of that college, like that's like the pinnacle of what a lot of times parents and
Yes.
kids are reaching for, and so it's nice to touch on that because you were a college athlete. Did you do two? Were you a two different sport athlete at Syracuse?
No,
Okay. In high school you were.
In high school, I
Yeah.
was. I would have liked to, be a two-sport athlete, but that's difficult. At that
And
level.
at Division One,
Yeah,
it's
so,
almost right.
yeah.
It's next to impossible.
I did have some opportunities to play football in college, but I ultimately picked, track and
a
field.
bigger school. Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Yes.
Cool.
Yep.
Yeah. So Bo Jackson, I guess, might have done it, right?
Yeah. Bo
There's not
Jackson,
many.
Deion Sanders.
Yeah,
couple,
Deion. Yeah. Cool. So you did. So I also did track and field in college. So
Okay.
we have that in common.
Yeah.
But I did not. I was doing middle distance.
Okay.
More. Yeah, along that line.
I'm not a long distance runner.
No.
I'm
Yeah.
more of the short sprinter.
Yeah, right.
Type, so
Yeah, no, that's great. No, it's a great. So I just think it's interesting because so many kids now, really are. There's more. There's more than ever, like
Yes.
more than our generation that are going in, and which I really like because just to kind of finish this up, I feel like when you're in college, there's a lot of distraction. There's a lot of potential things,
Yes.
but when you're an athlete, you really have to hone that in,
Yeah.
academically and athletically.
Yeah, that is important. Obviously for the athletes or just being a part of any group
Any
or
group.
Club.
Yeah.
To kind of keep your focus because there
Right.
there's many distractions
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
in the college scene. So yeah.
Yes, there are, and I've got a college kid right now. So good. All right, well, that's great. So you've been in Wrentham a long time. So just tell us, I guess, your kids have gone through Wrentham public schools.
Yes,
and
I have a sophomore in high school, 15, almost 16
Mm-hmm.
in December, and then just turned 11 last week. One of my sons, and then a first grade 6-year-old boy as well.
Oh, so there's
yes.
there's a little space in between the boys.
about 5 years, between each of them.
Yeah,
So,
good. And they're at Wrentham. Is it Roderick?
Roderick and
Elementary
Delaney.
and Delaney. Okay,
yes.
good. So you've got lots of experience with the public
Yes.
public schools.
Yes.
Yeah, I always think that that's nice in a candidate because I feel like education is always a top issue.
Yes, it most certainly is. We've always loved the public school system here. And the administration does a great job.
Mm-hmm.
Teachers do a great job. We're very blessed to be in a district where
think so.
education is held to the highest regard. So.
Yep, and it's a nice balance as well because I feel like. Yeah, I think the KP system and of Wrentham, Norfolk, Plainville, I think it's a nice balance of
Yes.
A lot of things. It's not there's not too much parent heavy involvement. Sometimes there's too
Yes,
much in
yes.
some, you know. So yeah, all right, great. So I guess moving, we got a little bit about your background. So your platforms, you know, that as
Yes.
you're running for state representative, do you want to touch on a little bit more about what you've done professionally leading up to sort of making this decision to run?
Yeah, so you know, Sean Dooley, who's our current sitting state representative for the district, he decided to vie for a seat in the state senate. So obviously that gave you know, others an opportunity
Right.
to
Yeah,
take this
that's right.
position,
Yeah.
and just thought it was perfect timing. I was actually looking at potentially going for a select board seat.
Okay.
So I already had aspirations on, you know,
Yeah.
on that end.
Yeah.
But then when Sean made his decision, kind of shifted gears.
Yeah, it was almost like a sign.
Yeah, yeah, and there was no one really on the Republican side that was going for it, so thought I'd put my, you know, name in the ring, and
Yeah.
you know, and here I am today, and
Yeah.
it's been a whirlwind, you know, thus far, but it's been great.
Yeah, yeah, no, it seems like it's going very well. All right, so yeah, the last few weeks down, but when did you make that decision? So, sometime spring, right? Early
Yes,
spring?
yeah, because
Yeah.
it's been almost 9 months now. I mean, it's
Oh,
a
wow.
long cycle, you know,
Yeah.
from, you know, obviously things are picking up significantly now, but yeah, it's been about 9 months since I, you know, initially made the decision. So,
Right.
yeah.
Okay. And the ninth Norfolk district, Marcus, is, I mean, I think I've got this right. It's all of Norfolk, Rentham, and Plainville. The whole
Yes.
town, all
the entire tri-town
the
area.
entire tri-town, and all of the, how do they divide them into?
Yeah, and it's per precinct
precincts,
in
yeah.
the other three towns. So
Yeah.
Walpole, Precinct 5, which
Yeah.
basically encompasses all of South Walpole,
South Walpole,
everything
okay.
closest to the stadium, as you can imagine.
Right. And that's closest to
Yes.
to Norfolk,
yes,
kind of. Okay.
Exactly. And then Medfield, precincts 3 and 4.
Okay.
And Millis,
Millis.
precinct 1.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. So those are the 6 towns.
6 towns.
Yep. And then 3 whole towns.
Yes.
Okay. Interesting how it divides up.
Yeah. So a little bit of coverage, but
Yeah.
it's pretty manageable.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
not too far from end to end.
No, it's not.
No.
No, it's not so far. You're right. Yeah, these are suburbs. You know, out here we're definitely packed in a little
Yes.
bit, which I like. So I guess what would you say, Marcus, are your most important? Like, what drove you to run? Like, what is it that you want to say change or improve upon, or just work? Like, what are the things that drive
Yeah,
you?
so, you know, in my line of business, I'm in the security, you know, industry, and I work a lot with, you know, municipalities and police departments,
Oh, okay.
correctional, you know, departments, and
Security systems,
security
yeah.
systems,
Okay.
electronic security systems. So we handle high-end video surveillance and access
Oh.
control door systems. So, you know, safety is of utmost importance to me,
Right.
and making sure that our towns and local municipalities are safe, and the
yeah.
constituents that live within the
Right.
parameters are safe.
Yeah.
So that is a major focus of mine, to make sure that, you know, our public safety, you know, members are well funded, and we have everything that we need to keep our families and our children, you know, safe in our communities. And that goes beyond making sure that, you know, people are doing what they're supposed to, but also that we're keeping drugs off the street. Obviously, as you know, we have a major fentanyl problem
Yeah.
that's pouring over the border. You know, I just saw last night, Mass State Police just made another huge seizure
Is
of
it coming
fentanyl.
from New Hampshire? Is it,
I-
or
I
is
bel-
it?
I think it was north of Boston. I
Oh,
don't know
okay, yeah.
exactly where, but,
But yeah.
it was a huge fentanyl, you know, seizure,
yeah.
and just, you know, the pills, you know, getting in our children's
Oh my
hands.
gosh, yeah.
You know, we need to make sure that we're educating our children appropriately. My wife is a teacher
right.
in the Foxborough school system, so she's a health and PE teacher.
Yeah.
You know, so she's always preaching, you know,
Oh,
the
I'm
importance
sure.
of, you know, making sure that, you know, children are safe.
Yeah. And the drugs that can be available.
Yeah,
that are
exactly. And it only takes, you know, one time at this point, you know, for, you know, something really bad to happen. So,
Yeah.
yeah, that is a major concern of mine, and kind of a focus as I, you know, hopefully, you know, get to the State House.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay. So public safety, funding the police, as well as sort of the drug issues
Yes.
in Massachusetts
Yep.
specifically. Yeah, no, those are great.
And as a combination to, and sidebar on that, obviously making sure, unfortunately not everyone, the drug abuse is rampant all over the country, and making sure those citizens are well cared for and have the proper services available to them within our communities,
Yeah.
is very important as well,
Right.
to help them through that and get them back on the right track.
Yeah, oh, that's important. Yeah, that's important to mention. Yes, okay. And I know that Rentham is now known for, is it Gilly's House?
Gilly's House,
Yeah,
yes,
Gilly's House.
yes.
So, and that, which is newer, a newer residential drug, would you call it drug treatment center?
Yes,
Or I'm
yeah,
not
and
sure
alcohol,
what it's
yeah,
called.
and alcohol, yeah,
alcohol
so
too.
it's a men's,
A men's
basically
facility, yeah.
facility,
Yeah.
and yeah, the people there are able to stay as long as they need, as long as they, adhere to, the rules of the house.
Yeah.
But I've met a lot of them,
Have you?
and Barbara and David Gilmeister do a wonderful job there. They're a staple in our community.
Sounds
Yeah, they're doing really great work there. So, yes.
cool. And that was like they came up with that on their own,
Yes.
basically. Yeah.
Yes.
Just
Unfortunately,
out of
tragedy
a
that happened
tragedy.
within their own family.
Yeah.
But sometimes those are the people that uplift the rest of
And
us.
They do. They make change
through tragedy.
right?
Yes.
And they make they use that to make change. No,
Yes.
it's very impressive. Okay, well, those are great. I'm glad you went through those important things to you, and I guess. What else? When you think of when you kind of think of yourself, okay, if I win the seat, I'll be a state representative from your district. What do you see as the first couple of things you kind of want to work on? What would be something?
Yeah, even a focus on our infrastructure in the area and roads.
Yeah.
Route One is one of the most deadly roads. In Massachusetts. There's got to be a better way of directing traffic and making sure that commuters in the area and
Yeah.
outside are safe on those roadways.
Right.
Even myself, like I make it a point to make sure I'm in the right lane,
Yeah.
not by the
Yeah.
the middle lane, just because there's just been so many accidents
Yeah.
and people pulling out in certain areas on Route One.
Right.
We continue to build on Route One, but we
know.
don't necessarily have the proper traffic signals. So I'd like to have some type of feasibility study to
Oh, good.
see how we can better manage that Route One
That
corridor
stretch.
as it
Yeah.
goes through
And
Plainville.
Rentham, and then South Walpole. Some of South Walpole.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Okay. All right. That's good. Yeah. I don't personally know the statistics, about accidents, but I know that it's a tough road. It
Yes.
can be a tough road.
Yes.
With speed and everything. Yeah. Oh, good. Well, that's a great one. And I don't know if I want to give you a chance to chat about other important things. Yeah. So is there
I
anything
think
else that
as far as our communities are concerned, I would love to have our communities kind of stay small, quaint, communities. I think we have on the perimeter of Ninth Norfolk, we have enough towns and local cities that have enough commercialism,
Right.
Within a drivable distance. So I don't necessarily want to bring all of that to our towns. We have our identity, and obviously there is room for growth, but it has to be the right growth for
Yeah.
the future. So
Right.
that's something I'm really passionate about as well, is making sure the fabric of our communities are kept intact and not overly commercialized per se.
Right. Yes,
So,
with more building.
Yes.
Yeah. No. So I know you're a Rentham townie, and I consider myself a Norfolk townie. Even though I'm not actually, it's usually you have to grow up there, right? But I've been there 22 years. I feel like there's going to be some sort of number that once you reach there.
Yeah.
But as a Norfolk resident for a couple decades, that is something so important to me, that we don't just keep building out and building out,
Yes.
and that we keep the fabric of the, like you said, the quaint I don't know if it's country. I'd like it to be, but that's because that's why people move to these towns, and that's
Exactly.
why they stay.
Yes.
And so it's hard though because the wave is often, the wave is often to build, 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 and so yeah, that
Yes.
seems like it's a challenge,
Yes.
a tough balance.
Yes, it most certainly is. But like I said, in the future, it just has to be the right type of growth, and
Yeah.
the community, I implore the community to be a part of that.
Yeah.
During those discussions, and know Rentham was doing, a feasibility study on growth in the future of Rentham, and
Oh, good.
I know a lot of residents were involved in that process, but we need to continue to be engaged in those conversations. Because at the end of the day, if something gets passed, there's really no looking
going
back
back.
and going
I
back.
know.
So it's important for the community as a whole to be engaged in those discussions from the very start.
Yeah, agreed. And I often see de facto town, officials, meaning sometimes they're just the administrators of a Facebook page, but they're saying, hey, we've got meetings, here is the planning,
Yes.
this is this meeting here at planning board, and like citizens come if you want your voice heard,
Yes.
you've got to come, and I appreciate that is communicated out. I don't know how well attended these end up being, but at least they're trying.
Yes.
Yeah.
They are trying.
Yeah, they're trying. So, all right. Well, I feel like we've gotten to know you a little bit more, and about your background, about your experience, and also, and kind of most importantly for this race is for, before the election is like what you want to, what's important to you, like what are the things that drive you. So, is there anything else that we didn't touch on, or anything else that you want to mention that you feel is important?
No, we have a couple events coming up. We have a Meet the Candidates event actually tomorrow night in Franklin. You can see the information on my website. And then next Tuesday, I believe it's the 18th, another meet and greet in Medfield. And that will be at Zealous Beer Company.
Oh, okay.
Hosted by Brothers Market as well for some food and cash bar. So
yeah, awesome.
that should be a great event. And then we actually just got approval today from the town to host a pumpkin, kind of like a pumpkin spectacular.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
fun.
at the town common. So
good.
we're working on some talent at the gazebo to play some Halloween spooky music during the 2-night event, and
cool.
Going to open up to the public and have them, enter in jack-o'-lantern, carved jack-o'-lanterns,
for
and
contest.
light up the common for over 2 nights. So
that's fun. And that's a new, that hasn't been done before.
No, it's never been done, and it's something that my family has enjoyed, in past years, going to Roger Williams Jack-o'-lantern Spectacular. So if we can bring something on a smaller scale here, and have the entire community involved, and have people, go out and enjoy, seeing all the, artist work, that would be really cool. So
awesome.
hopefully we can, have something like that, for years to come.
Right. Oh yeah. Start it off. Yeah, that's a creative idea. So whoever came up with that, I like it. That's a really creative idea because it's better than going into Providence, and because that is crazy because of the number. I mean, because I've done it too. Oh, that's fun. So the website will be up on the show, so if people want to check out the details of the event, the events coming up, they can just go right to your website.
Great.
So it's on the lower third of the screen. All right. Well, I feel like we covered everything. This was good. It's nice to have a conversation that I like that's not overly super political, but more like, who are you, and what's your background, and what do you want to do, because I think that's what people really like to know.
Yep.
So,
Marcus
Vaughn, thank you so much
thank you, Jill.
Thank you for
Appreciate
coming in, and I really appreciate your time. So on behalf of NCTV and also Rentham Cable 8, for our town, I'm Jill Hindley Lawrence. Thanks for watching.